I was selfish, I was self-centered, I was a lying, thieving, cheating drunk. By the time I was not even 21, or actually, yeah, just shortly after my 21st birthday, I was arrested for my third DWI, and this time I went to jail for the very first time. That would begin a very vicious cycle in my life that would last for, say, the next 13 to 14 years. Towards the end of it, I found myself homeless. I had spent time sleeping in my truck. I had spent time in and out of shelters. I had gotten myself pretty much kicked out of every cheap motel in the Waukesha County area. And that was the time when the Lord finally decided He was going to intervene in my life, though I didn't realize it at the moment. We were on our way to a job site one morning, and my friend was driving, and the cop pulled him over for a burnt out taillight. And even though I wasn't driving the vehicle at the time, the officer asked for my ID, and when he ran it, he discovered there was a warrant for my arrest. To give you an idea of how bad life was for me at that point, I found myself actually kind of relieved to be going back to jail, because I knew at least for the next several months I wouldn't have to worry about what I was going to eat or where I was going to sleep. I was lying in my jail cell that night, and I was listening to a little Walkman radio that I had purchased at the canteen, and a song came on the radio called "Not Where I Belong" by Building 429. And as that song was playing, it felt to me as though Christ was standing right next to me, saying, John, this is not the life that I have chosen for you. Come, follow me. And so at that point, I did. I received Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and gave my life to serving Him. When I first got out, obviously I didn't have a job, and I remembered James' place from previous times here downtown Waukesha being homeless. And so I came in that first morning, just looking for assistance with work, and I ended up meeting one of the volunteers here. His name is Steve. And that moment I walked in that morning, we got to talking a little bit, and he happened to be a Tuesday morning, and he's like, "Oh, we have this men's Bible study going on, come on and join us." James Place also gave me my very first opportunity to use my ministry gifts. Steve recognized something in me, a giftedness in me, and provided that opportunity for me. When I heard God calling me to ministry, I thought it was absolute craziness. I thought it was foolishness. There was no way God wanted to use somebody like me to do that kind of work. So of course I kept it to myself for a number of months. I didn't tell anybody about it. But if I've learned anything about God over these years, is that He can be very, very persistent. And so eventually I decided to go and speak with my pastor at the time, and said, "John, if God has placed a burden upon your heart to do something, it's best to take a step of faith and see what happens." And so that's what I did. And so I started attending Trinity. I ended up graduating in 2019, spring of 2019, with a BA in Christian ministry and an emphasis on pastoral leadership. And I believed, at least in my mind, that I was going to finish my time at Trinity and then go on to pastor another church somewhere here in the United States. But Lord obviously had other plans for me. One of the things I just have been able to reflect upon lately is that how big of a part James Place actually played in my walk and my journey over these years. I never had really connected the dots, but I've been able to think the last couple weeks about how just coming in that one morning, how I ended up meeting Steve, how Steve then introduced me to this Wednesday night Bible study, and how God called me to ministry and to Trinity from there on. So I'm very grateful for James Place and the role that it has played in my walk with Christ and my journey towards ministry.